All right, so it looks like we are in a champion select. Let's see what TSM on the blue has for Azubu Frost on the purple team.
Well, off the bat, it's a respect band, 2 respect bands actually in a row, dropping out Rapid Star and dropping out Mad Life here that support Alistair so strong. Again, Frost have not lost a game all tournament. TSM, this is their very first showing as well. Azubu Frost actually dropping out a 1v2 option as well, picking out that Yorick. They really want Shy on more of a carry-type champion, so that top lane Yorick not going to be in that mix for him.
He's been very good on Jax. He had an amazing game on Singed as well, but Dyrus knowing that champion very well in his champion pool as well. We'll have to see what they come out with. It probably won't be that top pick for Shy, but again, a top pick is an alright pick to go with in the first. We're going to see mid coming out for Reginald right off the bat, so they're looking at global aggression right away.
So this really makes a lot of sense here. That last ban from Azubu Frost targeting Vladimir out and removing one of TSM's staple old-school strategies, and they did learn about it, that double AP Vladimir plus cannon, Vladimir plus almost anything. But Dyrus, right away picking up the champion here of Karthus, who is, actually I talked to Ocelot after his group stage games and why he was playing Karthus. And he said that Karthus is in his opinion, the best AP mage champion in the game right now, that he must be played if he's available. And TSM seeming to subscribe to that strategy, want to bring Karthus in there for a lot of damage overall. He's great late game, puts out a lot of damage. The Jace pickup here that they're looking at from Azubu Frost, he's phenomenal as well. He's so aggressive, can really shut down opponents in lane. And now, if Shy is going to be there on Jace, it'll be much harder for Dyrus to react to him and actually win that lane. This is now looking really good for Shy in the top lane.
That's a great pickup for them. Jace is one of the most played champions on Dyrus' roster right now, so he is going to be forced to play something, obviously, that he's comfortable with. But he's going to have that taken away. Lux being taken, and we see the safe Ezreal pick with that Sona poke going to be going down to the bottom lane.
This is a pretty standard bottom lane here from Solo Mid. The only way to really beat them right here is a crazy in-your-face aggressive lane. If you play anything long range at all, you'll tend to lose out, get poked a lot. Nunu, I don't even see, Nunu is a potential here, but they've got to really worry about what kind of bottom lane they run. There's going to be a lot of pressure put onto them by TSM unless they turn it around and go all in. Now that Lux pickup is nice for Azubu Frost because it's actually an ambiguous, it's one of the very few champions that is ambiguous between mid and support. And now that could be picked as a counter pick to Reginald's Karthus, and honestly that bottom lane is now revealed as well, that Sona Ezreal combo. But at the same time, they're going to figure out where they want to put Lux and what they're going to do with that. They're looking at an aggressive gank-oriented jungler here on Maokai, who can clear the camps pretty well and then immediately show up to support the lanes. And honestly, if they wanted to, Maokai and Jace could tag team that top lane. We don't see a lot of aggression on the top lane normally, but it's absolutely available with these two champions here.
So a team of just displacement and crowd control right now coming from the purple team. Azubu Frost looks to grab Maokai and Blitzcrank.
This is another, I think the third time now we've seen this tournament of Blitzcrank being the counter pick to Sona. The reason this works is Blitzcrank is all in. He wants to just start a fight and just go for it all at once. And Sona is really better at laid-back sort of long-term engagements. She's not great in your face. Her base durability is very, very low. She's got no burst damage, no burst healing. She's all about doing a bunch of things over like 8 seconds. Blitzcrank does them over the course of 2.
Oh man, that Dyrus pickup is going to be on Darius, and Chaos choosing Shyvana for the odd one in the jungle. It's going to give some speed to their roster. But really, what's the composition coming out from Team Solo Mid? It seems like a few of their champions that they were going to synergize with have been picked here.
It's actually really, really good overall. They've got a pretty strong front line of Double Bruiser. These guys can dive in and screw with the back line of Azubu Frost. They've got a lot of lane dominance overall, choosing that Darius as a counterpick to Jace in the top lane, and they've got phenomenal late game scaling here from Karthus. Their overall lineup is quite strong. Now, Azubu Frost picking up Misfortune, she is all about fighting, and this makes a lot of sense against Sona as well. Part of Misfortune's kit has grievous wounds on it. That's a debuff you put on an enemy, makes them take half effect from healing effects. Sona is a healer, so when Blitzcrank goes all in,
all right, and as we jump into game, we have Woong on the screen. We can see him going down to the bottom of the map by himself. It looks like he is going to try and just guard that tri-bush for anybody to come through and invade the blue. They also have, again, Lux and Maokai in that mid, but they are freak. They went around that top brush, and they are going to be just hanging out there. They see a shot coming through. Looks like Jace not choosing a skill yet. Yes, he actually did choose Q for this. See what they do. Blitzcrank is up top. That still gives them a bit of crowd control in that position. Most of it in mid, though, with Cloud Templar on Rapid. And again, just Woong down bottom. And I like that with Woong. Obviously, Misfortune getting that passive movement speed, so if she sees anybody, she's out of there.
And I want to call attention to actually the Team Solomid's Wraith Brush. So they saw, Azubu Frost saw that TSM shoved that top lane, and a lot of people went up there. So Cloud Templar made the move into TSM's jungle and tossed a sapling down there at that brush by the Wraith camp, which allows them to see just what TSM is trying for. And now with that extra vision, plus that ward in the top river, now Azubu Frost feels a lot more comfortable, and they're actually making their own moves, aggressing a lot in this bottom lane. You can see Reginald leading the way as Karthus, using layways to check brush and make sure that the opponents are not waiting for them. So both these teams actually making their ways into the game, trying to look for something aggressive to do, and scouting out along the way, making sure they're not getting flanked as a result. You can see Azubu Frost just pinged the opposing Lizard camp. They're going to make an invade for this brush.
All right, so I was a little wrong here. They didn't go to the Golem bush. They went straight for the red bush. And they are going to try and dodge that ward in that barren area, but they did not. A bottom take here, just on the other side of the wall. No cat and mouse to be played, though, unless Xpecial starts to pull up towards red. He's not going to find himself in trouble. No, he gets vision of them. They now know 3 are in the base. The pings start to go down. They say, can we close them in? You saw the ping behind red go in. If Reginald can get himself down there, but he really does not want to mess with this. We can see him making no movements, and they're looking to just get some cheeky grabs over the wall. 3,000 gold to 3,000. Looks like the counter jungle was pretty much countered itself by the odd one, going for the Wraiths.
Yeah, I think this was overall I think it went better overall for Team Solomid. They knew the opposing team had a much better invade lineup, and they had to do something to sort of pull that lead back and not really get destroyed in the invade. Now, the one sad thing, though, for Azubu Frost is Cloud Templar's got Lizard instead of Golem, so his jungle speed's a little bit slower than he wants it to be, but ultimately the odd one, running around a Shyvana, she's always going to have a faster clear than Maokai anyway, so it's not really the end of the world to be a little bit slower than your opposition. Overall, he did save his smite. Cloud Templar's happy to use that now on this Golem and keep himself in the jungle.
So TSM, I believe the first one while running Shyvana or Shen in the jungle is going to be giving that to her. Usually you see it going to that top laner or mid laner very fast, but Odd One keeps that for himself. The grab down bottom just missing, and it looks like Mad Life forced back until he gets that cooldown back up again. Jace against Darius up top. Dyrus looking to go against one of his main champions in that pool. Should have this lane pretty well, but Shy staying in that long range ability for him so he can get that poke out.
And they tried to gank that bottom lane a little while ago. You can see actually Dyrus right now. He's stuck in the brush. He knows he's against a long-range champion who can attack him every time he goes for a minion kill. So what Dyrus is doing is he's sitting in the brush and waiting out for the odd one to go for a gank here. He's also only leaving the brush to go for a last hit. He's going to keep playing passively, and he'd actually like to have Jace jump in on him. If I were, unless he kind of reads it, he could try to bait out Shy for a push.
Here we go. Shyvana coming from the backside. Flashed over. The exhaust goes down. But that's huge for that top lane. Shy now must play a bit more careful. Jace can get movement speed with that flash down. Wow, so much aggression coming from him. He knows the limits of what he has right now in that situation. Continues to do damage in Cloud Templar. Now looking for the counter gank. Knows that health is low. With the exhaust down, this now becomes his fight in the jungle. I believe that was just cleared. No, the odd one caught him on the backside of view, and he knows to go outside of the jungle.
Well, it doesn't matter too much anyway. Actually, Odd One's still lurking around that sapling, acting as a ward so that Cloud Templar is not aggressed on, and then puts another sapling down, really taking stock of what's in the jungle. Reginald clearing out that Wraith camp for the Odd One. He found out eventually that it did get invaded upon, seeing that Maokai had the red buff. They knew he went for that steal early on. So Reginald, taking his time out of mid lane to clear that out and ensure the Odd One had a chance here. Mad Life still lurking in this bottom brush. This is the difficulty here. Xpecial, he's still got a ward, but he's playing confidently enough, saying, we don't need to ward out Blitzcrank. We know we can stand in a place where we're safe from that rocket grab, and that's pretty confident to say, they don't need the vision. They can still just survive those situations. And they're really refusing to take any damage in this bottom lane. You're seeing them split pretty equally, but here comes Cloud Templar in mid. No, Reginald still with the vision to know that he could be safe by just walking down. Still no Summoner's Burn. TSM are playing this one pretty accurately in all of their lanes.
Cloud Templar just itching to get an initiation down there, realizing that Reginald still has his flash up, did not want to be caught under the turret that far. Blitzcrank moving around here, knows he put himself in kind of a sticky situation, but he returns to lane as he goes to ward. Looks like Mad Life is going to throw that over the bush if he decides to. Nope, just walking around actually, not really doing much for his lane right now. Leaving MF off in the distance, Woong forced to be back on this minion wave. And we see the odd one coming in, a 2-and-2 top. Both tops and junglers now present in that area, but they return to their jungle. Usually this is when you see somebody else go in for that counter, but they both just figured to step out of it. The lane is quite pushed for Dyrus right now. And he is going to not have a ward for himself. He's got to be very careful of this play, just seeing Maokai on top.
And this is really a difficulty here for Team Solo Mid, is right now Azubu Frost knows that they don't need to be afraid of the odd one. Shyvana does not have any natural crowd control until level 6, which is just a small knockback on Dragon form. So without exhaust, he really can't exert a lot of pressure, especially now once the Lizard buff is timed out. Shyvana doesn't contribute a lot to a gank overall.
No.
Here comes the push on a Dyrus.
Dyrus getting hit up to the skies, only does a little bit of damage. The Twisted Advance goes down, and the CC backwards as well. They're trying to keep Dyrus in. The ultimate from Rapid Star coming out, and this looks like Dyrus will go down for first blood. Not able to get out.
Guess you don't need to be cautious to hit people from across the lane. Nice move by Rapid Star. You know, and that was team coordination saying, guys, we're ganking Dyrus. Rapid Star came up, just walked halfway up the river, and landed a really, really good final Spark ultimate there, just knocking a lot of health off of him. Really good opening. This is actually a great setup here. Shy is going to just pull that 1 kill ahead. That's all he needs to snowball ahead of Dyrus. They can ignore top lane the rest of this game, and Shy will keep building an advantage here.
Rapid Star getting an assist there, but doesn't have that much more gold off it than Reginald. He's only about 100 more gold in the lead. A pull down bottom lane. It looks like they're going to be quite aggressive here onto Xpecial. The Ignite goes down. No, the Grievous Wounds onto Xpecial rather, and they will force this one. Mad Life just on the backside. Can he get a power fist in? There it is. They could be going for Xpecial. The second kill comes in. Requiem takes down Woong, and here comes the odd one. The General to set up a kill for Chaos, and he actually takes it for himself.
Nice move there by Solo Mid. Cloud Templar coming down. It should be safe overall. And that was a really, really nice move. And I think a bit of over-aggression. And I got to hand it, though. Xpecial played that situation so very well. Now, the pull kind of sucked. I don't think he expected to bait a fight that hard. But once they finally came in, he waited. He waited until Misfortune overcommitted. As soon as she did that, power core to the face, exhaust, and then said, okay, go for it, Chaos. And Chaos spent all of his time just focusing down and making sure Woong just took fatal damage there. As soon as they saw Woong was low enough to die to Requiem, he immediately switched. He let Woong sit there with Requiem on his face and said, yep, you will die. I'm just going to go ahead and start focusing down onto Mad Life's Blitzcrank. That was these players knowing their own limits so very well, knowing the damage of Requiem, and knowing that Xpecial could force MF to overcommit and just turn that around for a kill.
Cloud Templar playing the odd one at his own game of super counter jungling. They have the red timer and they steal it once again, just about a minute after it came up. So they're really on that 10,000 gold to 10,500 gold, and neck and neck at 2-2 here at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. A lot of summoner spells are up. Dyrus's flash is down, so he's playing quite passive in his lane right now. We do see the support Blitzcrank being a little bit aggressive down bottom. He's got to be careful. Flash and Ignite are down as well. So we are seeing that Chaos and Xpecial could really have the upper hand in this next fight. However, Xpecial with Crescendo is also missing Exhaust and Flash.
Yeah, right now the fighting potential is so much stronger here from Ezreal. Having that phase really allows them to bully the opposing lane. If Blitzcrank ever overcommits and they get a phage proc on him and slow him down, there is no recourse without a Azubu Frost lane. They don't have a lot of defensive tools. The slow from Misfortune is not very powerful. Blitzcrank's only crowd control is in melee range, and no one from TSM, except for the odd one or maybe Dyrus, is really going to walk into that range there. So there's really no defensive tools here for Mad Life.
Apprehended, and the Dragon Descent goes down. The Flash once again, and the Exhaust forced onto Shy. The bleed is there. Is Requiem up? No, it is not. Shy will stay alive, but with a sliver.
And now he feels safe once more. The crowd controls have been burned. There's no flash on Dyrus, no ignite, nothing there for the odd one either. And even though he has almost no health left, he knows he can stay in lane as long as he dodges that hook.
Bottom lane is getting aggressed on here. The Power Fist again, once onto Sona. Chaos left to do damage, but it's going to be a 3v1. Cloud Templar there, and they just missed the long-range grab on Chaos, and the laser from Lux.
And at the same time, though, Shy picked up that kill on the top lane. Azubu Frost, aggression everywhere, really picking things up.
So this is what you need to do, just really play with the mentality. They saw that their jungler was bottom. We saw Odd One up top, even though he was a little bit behind. Shy still very aware of the limitations, was able to get a kill in a 2v1, and looks like Dragon will come out of this at 10 minutes into the game for Azubu Frost.
There you go. That's what happens when you pick up kills like that. You take map control, and you convert that into some kind of major advantage. Pretty soon you'll see turret pressure as well being the name of the game, but with no 2-on-1 lanes here, none of the lane swaps happening, there's not any easy turret kills overall. Neither of these teams really picked heavy pushing champions, Misfortune and Ezreal both. They've got to rely kind of on their ultimates to shove minion waves down. It's not like Graves or Sivir where you can kind of shove passively just by spending a bit of mana and just kind of relying on basic abilities here. So you're not seeing a lot of uber turret aggression because none of the champions are really set up for it just yet. But pretty soon, I think we're kind of at the stage now, people have enough items that the next major champion kill or team fight will turn into a turret.
clearing the mid lane here. Lux just trying to push with that laser. The cooldown for that final spark is now 60 seconds, very short there. We're going to see if they can capitalize on more kills. Right now, Rapidstar really using that to get himself an assist and clear his lane, continuing to farm. It's 101 to 105 for those mid lane carries as they come into their minion kills. Catalyst the Protector going out for Reginald to keep himself sustained, and the Chalice for Rapidstar along with that blue buff. I believe Reginald also wearing his blue buff is looking to lose that in just a few seconds. Still, so many wards coming out for Azubu Frost to keep control of this map. It is 4-2. They're dictating some of this with a 2,000 gold lead. They did get Dragon, so they have the timer on that. And we'll have to see. I believe in just a few minutes that red buff will come back up, and Cloud Templar has that timer.
Yeah, it should be in the next, I think, roughly 30 seconds or so, in about under a minute for sure. And now you're going to see how these lanes are shaping up here. So with those kills happening in the bottom lane, it's a little bit tougher here for Chaos, but they're still not that far behind in items that they can't win a battle, especially with the odd one lurking around. Now having an Oracle's Elixir is able to sweep out wards and keep the opposing team blind. You see, just by showing up like that, they forced Azubu Frost to play passively. Misfortune not able to last hit successfully because she doesn't know if odd one's waiting around in the wings. Blitzcrank ran around the back and dropped a ward in the river to watch one of the invasion paths, but they still have no idea if Odd1 might be lane sneaking or walking in from Tri-Brush. They don't have that vision anymore. In fact, Odd1 back into that bottom river, just kind of bought some time between ward kills. He's going to wait for a bait here. They might try to pull Woong and Mad Life in.
He keeps below that turret. Jay's pushing hard in up top, but we're now focused. The odd one actually putting himself just under the fog of war of that ward. I don't think they saw him. He is going to be, however, be seen by that right there without the Oracle seeing it.
Oh, wow. He actually just walked a little bit too far north. He would have really liked to sweep that ward out. It just went down. So a lot of vision being given. That's going to let Shy play aggressively, knowing no one's there to help.
Dyrus with a turret that is very low. We see Maokai moving down towards mid. They're trying to counter onto this. That is Cloud Templar trying for the counter gank here, knowing that he was going to be there from the ward. Very good play. They both actually stalemate off of that and head back to their jungle. Cloud Templar is still looking, however, for the odd one here. Going to try to clear out this ward, getting caught by the Wall of Pain, but he has the crowd control to get out from Rapidstar and himself, actually. Nothing goes down there, but you can see these players reading each other like books.
Go for the pressure. Wow, Dyrus, so much burst. This is going to be the ignite kill. Yep. Yes, it is.
Very nice play there. Coming out Shy. Once again, playing to that top caliber level. Just pushing Dyrus out of lane. Hasn't even really needed that much help from Cloud Templar to do it either.
Yeah, that was the only kill he needed. He needed that one gank from Cloud Templar. That was enough to snowball ahead. That's how Darius lanes work. If someone gets ahead a little bit, it's probably going to stay that way as long as it was a neutral match from the start. That kill does translate into a turret here. Shy had been pushing it down the entire time, knowing that Darius did not have the tools to stop the push or punish him for it. He had that ward down the entire time, and he's going to find Reginald in the jungle.
Shy looking so hurt here. He does take a hit. Reginald is moving away. Requiem is up. He goes for the cast. We're going to watch Shy, and he's still alive. 60 HP on the life. And they're now focusing on that blue. They know they pushed Reginald out. They have the complete force there. And it looks like a laser just being fired off to stop him from backing if they could do it blindly and cost them more time on the lane.
And it's going to be a blue steal overall, though. The Oracle's Elixir ensuring that no one was around and no one could see that it was, able to get stolen. It's not like it's, Lux on the other side. Lux is probably going to pull out some kind of miraculous steal at some point this game, as long as they have the vision for it. That final spark really coming in handy as these fights move across the map. So now Azubu Frost is in a place with 4,000 gold. All of their lanes, actually, sorry, I wouldn't say their bottom lane is winning, even though they got that gank earlier coming in from the jungle. But I think they're doing better in mid, and they're doing better up top. And their jungler, actually about equal standing. So really all their advantage is going to be on Shy right now. So if I'm Azubu Frost, I realize that Shy is the main player. We want to kind of keep that top lane as it is for a Mad Life with a nice rocket grab there, picks up that minion. But right now, it's relying on Shy. He's the big force here. Everyone else is holding their own. And they've got to realize that in a team fight, that if Shy goes down, they've got no tools left. They have to make sure that he plays successfully in these fights, and they don't get overconfident with their 3-kill lead, because they're all in one source here.
So we do see the Unholy Grail being picked up, the Rod of Ages onto Reginald. That has ticked quite a bit now, 54 health and 60 mana gained from that with 6 ability power. Let's see what they can do to return themselves from lane. We do see Jace now in middle. That top turret has been destroyed, so Azubu Frost enjoying their roam. We saw this against Invictus, that they had 5-man roams going on before even all the turrets were down. But right now they have Jace to roam out, and it looks like he's not really going for too much of a tanky build, but a lot more damage, as it appears to be a Bloodthirster next.
Well, that's going to be really them just going for damage output, and this is the build we really saw from Miss Fortune as well, is she's really relying actually more on that ultimate for the damage and not as much the basic attacks overall. So, you know, the Bloodthirster is the most efficient way to stack just bonus attack damage of any item in the game. So she's trying to build that up and really rely on just scaling that bullet time and relying on sort of a team fight effort. They've got Maokai, they've got Lux, they've got a lot of team fight potential, a lot of area of effect. They're going to really have that kind of thing running. And Team Solo Mid realizing with players off the map, they've got to prioritize turret kills as major sources of gold. They've still not got the map control to challenge Dragon, they've still not got the map control to force ganks or fights easily, but anytime Frost is off the map, and hidden away, they're going to go for something on the other corner. And I don't know if I like Frost really trading turrets for Dragons, because they do have total map control. They do have the ability to force any kind of situation they want. And instead, they're saying, you know what, yeah, we'll trade objectives with you.
And still seeing the bottom, as looks like Chaos and Nick Special now. This would be perfect if they could keep them from backing, putting on just enough pressure for Darius and Shyvana up top to take down those towers. It looks like they're backing as well, though. Chaos is just going to go back to farming down. We see, actually, top lane has backed, and Azubu Frost is going to use this to their advantage, taking out the jungle to themselves, making sure that they have full control aggressively, and they keep Special and Chaos at their turret. The pings are going down. I believe those are coming from Team Solo Mid. And it looks like Maokai and Blitzcrank will enter the jungle. I don't know what, but Azubu Frost feels more comfortable in TSM's jungle than their own.
They know they're ahead. They know that they've got Jace around, and Jace is the big playmaker here. There's no one really on Solo Mid's roster to stop him. You don't have a lot of items overall on the other side here, so nothing is around to keep Shy down and keep Shy from killing everything in sight. So as long as he's nearby, Azubu Frost will be completely confident. There's the light finding the pull on Reginald. Oh, that burst! Reggie, may he get out? He does! He's going to survive that one just barely. And imagine if Shy were there, he would have gotten completely dropped out.
A quick step to the left saves Reginald from taken down by Final Spark, but it looks like this turret will drop. They have prepped it quite well throughout the gameplay so far. 18 minutes in, a third turret will fall for Team Solo Mid. 5-2, and they are down 6,000 gold. The biggest deficit at this time in any game this tournament.
And this is Frost saying, hey, we want that burst damage there. We want to go for the pressure in a mid-game fight. Jace and Miss Fortune now both completing Bloodthirsters, really scaling up their ability damage and saying, you know, when a fight starts, we're going to do a lot of damage all in the next 3 seconds together. And that's when you get someone like Lux, someone like Miss Fortune, Jace, etc. They are all burst damage. They're all forced on dealing damage to one or a few targets right away. That's going to keep being the case. Those targets will take a lot of damage in fights.
Dyrus gets the power fist, or rather the rocket grab to go right through the cape there, just making it out. Beautiful ward placement coming from Azubu Frost. And like I said, it's completely aggressive. They want to get every single kill that they can, and they want to do it one by one. Like I said, Team Solo Mid does not make very many mistakes in team fights. We have not seen that full fight yet. And it may be huge for them. They have good area of effect coming into the fight. We'll have to see if they can utilize Reginald all the way through. He's not afraid to play that zombie Karthus, and will initiate fight with Requiem as well if he has to.
And this is going to be a scary situation, though, because really zombie Karthus without a lot of ability power won't matter very much. The thing to realize is Rapid Star has low cooldowns and a lot of ability power. His shield is going to help his teammates for 160 health on each way through. If he can land that perfectly, Rapid Star on Lux, that shield's going to be brutal. It's 80 plus 80 each way through, and Karthus, without yet a death cap, isn't really putting out that much damage. You can pretty much full shield Requiem if they have magic resist. When you consider that Cloud Templar is there with his ultimate, that Vengeful Maelstrom lowering damage that teammates take by 20%, there's no way Reginald kills anything right now.
Here comes a true shot barrage. There's a shield onto Reginald going into the middle of the fight. As I said before, the Dragon Descent taking down Shy. That money goes to Reginald, and it is very much needed. The rest of the fight, like I said, initiated with Requiem. Here comes bullet time. Oh, Miss Fortune flashing the upper hand. Beautiful job by Woong. The fast fingers almost keeping him alive. But the Phage and Red proc. A grab. Woong could get out alive, but he's still faced in the pinch right now. Too much in the pickle. They get their crescendo to finalize it. Oh, beautiful laser from Rapid Star. 6-4 to end off the fight. And TSM says that's enough for now.
And I am Kirsten Calls. 5 seconds after saying Reginald won't kill anything, he kills off Shy. I am good at this game. But, and you know, that's what happens when Shy gets caught out. That team does have crowd control. That team can lock up somebody and make him regret life a little bit. That's exactly what happened to Shy. He was a bit overcommitted. He got found out there, and they just burned exhaust and wall of pain and chase. He did fall down there. And again, without Shy, there's not a lot of team fight here for Azubu Frost. Again, you see that gold lead 6,000, actually really more like 5,500. That, wow, I can't do math. 4,000, 5,500, whatever. Anyway, continuing on, you know, that gold lead is there, but again, it's mostly on that one source. He's got a lot of minions and most of the kills on the team. He is the rich one, and you know, without Shy there, they don't have that same kind of team fight. That replay comes on that you're going to see as they jump in, trying to pick off there, and it's a lot of damage onto Woong. The pull's going to keep him safe a little bit, and you're going to see him go for the duel. A lot of damage being dealt to Chaos, but the exhaust is much, and then he realizes he's one hit from dead, must pull out the crescendo, and then that laser at the last second, Rapid Star, continuing to pad his pockets with gold, picks up the trade.
Yeah, he double stepped there a little bit. Chaos actually walks right back into the laser, but now back alive, getting hit with that light binding. The harassment so strong from Lux. Very nice. Getting the damage out, free for the trade. That laser is once again up. That just took down Chaos, so he has to be very careful. And with the double buff coming out, Rapid Star picking those up in that last fight is just able to throw out his spells, continuously shield his team, and be such a factor for a fight engagement. Lux's range is absolutely amazing. You can see her just trying to throw out damage from every angle. Blitzcrank will throw out the fist. Mad Life actually could go to one of these sides here and try to initiate a fight by pulling through the forest. And it looks like they take down that second turret. Only one turret has been dropped by Azubu Frost. Usually we'll see TSM holding their turrets for the longest portion of the game. 22 minutes in, we're now looking for an inhibitor turret, Freak.
And they're going to keep trying this. They want to play aggressively. They've got, like I said, that poke-oriented team. They've got a lot of long-range engagements. And normally I'd say that's not too harsh for TSM because, hey, they've got Sona. Special's going to be able to heal some people, but she's only got that rank 3 of the heal. She's not putting out that much health per second, and they're constantly putting damage output. Over and over, Dyrus now down to half health. Look at that. Fight hasn't even started, and they're still very, very low, hard to engage.
Here we go, coming out. They do land the wall of pain. They're forcing some flashes here, but they got to be careful about the reinitiation. Good dodge on bullet time. Here it comes. Chaos is out of the fight. The crescendo goes down. The dunk on the Jade. Dyrus coming up huge, and Woong forced to turn. He knows he's going down. Reginald pulled in. You do not want to pull a card this. Another dunk and double kill for Dyrus.
Wow, that team, Azubu Frost getting just slightly overconfident and getting caught out. TSM's team fight presence is so good. They're down in gold. They've got a lot of scary situations. They're low on health. They say, no, guys, here's a champion who is killable. Everyone go right now. You saw them dive in unison to pick these up. This is really Team Solamid knowing exactly how to play as a team. And that is what it takes to play at this level of competition. You're down in gold. Things get scary, your health's getting low. As long as you make decisions correctly as a group of players and you play in unison, you will pull things back around. Dyrus had such a horrible early on, but he's now coming back into his own. Let's check out a replay of that last fight. You can see the poke coming in. There's the haste coming back out. It looks like they're safe. They enter in back on a Chaos. Shy wants it, but now he's completely overextended. Crescendo into pull, and the burst damage everywhere, just completely dropping onto him. His team was not ready to re-engage there. Woong, the same place, just gets caught by the wall of pain. The slow is too much for him, and he cannot get away safely. His team, again, not ready to re-engage.
So we will see a Dragon at 30-10. As we just had Azubu Frost take that once again. Last time we saw them take it, it was quite a hard top lane push by the Odd One and Dyrus. Right now, they're finally controlling their own red. I think as the third one, they will be taking this, or the fourth one rather. So back into their jungle. Cloud Templar now with more things to focus on as the fight initiations are really starting to come into play here. 6-6 as TSM has evened it up. Team fight presence, like you said, Freak, just so strong. The ability for Reginald to run in and Dyrus as well to just wreak havoc on the fight. Chaos in and out really blew some cooldowns for Shy there, and he got himself caught out. If they can do that over and over, this is where TSM stops making their mistakes. The less mistakes, the more you win. At 25 minutes into the game, they're only down 7,000, just about 6,000 in gold as they're cresting that 30,000 mark. But they are still down 3 turrets, and that's a lot of map control, Freak.
it's really difficult overall. Exactly. There's a lot of room for Azubu Frost to move around and create a lot of sticky situations. Now, yeah, this is the point where Team Solo Mid does not want to make any mistakes and get caught out. But Frost's lineup is all about creating those mistakes out of nothing, of making a champion out of position, just because they kind of will them to be that way. Madlife, he lands a rocket grab. I mean, you've got to be so far away from the enemy team to make sure you don't get rocket grabbed. It's very, very difficult. The same thing here for Rapid Star. He can put a slow on you from thousands of range away. He can root you from that same distance. You can get caught out by seemingly nothing at any time from this Frost lineup, and you can just see their confidence in their abilities. They're going to go back for the front door. They don't even care about side turrets. They don't care about Baron. They don't want to bait anything. They're just going to go for the pressure here with their long-range team. This mid-game push makes a lot of sense. This Frost lineup, it is a mid-game push team. If you go into them, well, guess what? They've got the acceleration gate from Shy, from Jace. They've got the vengeful Maelstrom here from Maokai. How do you team fight Azubu Frost when they want to be team fought? How do you stop that push when they just want to be together as a group and they're just going to keep poking at you?
All this damage from so far away, and they haven't even really seen much of TSM other than ward coverage. Azubu Frost moving out here. Looks like they will start to mill back towards down the bottom of the map. That Baron objective to be grabbed. 3 wards are on that position for TSM Freak, and I think they know that the capitalizing point of this match is going to come from that Baron dance. Looks like the odd one with an Oracle's back on himself. Aegis of the Legion being purchased by Madlife. If they get some more core items under their belt to synergize with the team. Shy trying to get himself some mitigation on damage now, as he did go for the Bloodthirster into the Hex Drinker. Good movement from Maokai, assisting the team with that speed steroid from Shirelia's, as well as his Boots of Mobility. Boots of Mobility actually on Maokai and Blitzcrank. So they're going to be looking to grab somebody who's really trailing behind on any of these fight reinitiations. We've seen it a lot. Madlife has had great pulls this game, but Dyrus as well. The apprehends, forcing flashes, and coming out strong. He is one of the tankier ones on that team, and we see Dyrus also going for some with that split push build / I'm going to be in the fight and take down your team by myself build.
So Azubu Frost, again, their lineup is about really forcing these engagements. The Boots Mobility you mentioned a little while ago, that plays, you know, it makes a lot of sense there. They want to just get enough in a position that they can kind of capitalize. Shirelia's Reverie is going to need to be built up pretty soon. They don't have one yet. I'm surprised at that, but they would like to have one soon. A lot of bursts. Look at that. The long-range poke, tossing out a bunch of ultimates, because, yeah, if they can bring KX down to low health, why not just do that and set up really good situations? You can see they've taken out a turret as a result of this. They're like 1,500 range area of effect spells just forced Team Solo Mid to evacuate their own turrets. And yeah, okay, Frost has a 7,000 gold lead. Of course, that's a significant margin to be ahead, but they're just able to force Solo Mid away from their own base because they can just hit them from so far away over and over and drop their health bars down.
Also continuously just keeping that vision anywhere they need to. They have vision of the entire team, so they know they're not being flanked, and they can just sit here all day long. You can see just how many wards they have in the jungle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 in that bottom and 2 in the top jungle. They're not even in right now. So they're just waiting to take more experience, deny those buffs, and deny the leveling from Team Solo Mid. Right now, some of these champions are still pretty early in the game. We have Special at level 11, level 16 for Rapid Star, and he gets grabbed in. Said before, those apprehends paying dividends.
And Reginald, and that was really what TSM needed, is they needed to find some way to open a fight and finally initiate. There's so much crowd control and so many engagement windows for Azubu Frost. Solo Mid had to find one. The thing is, their only initiator here that had any reliable long-range initiation was actually Wall of Pain. So Reginald went for a flash Wall of Pain and relied on his team to follow through. Well, it turns out they did. Dyrus got in range for the Apprehend, actually flashed to land an Apprehend just to pick up that kill on a Rapid Star, and now it's going to be interesting. It's a base trade versus a Baron attempt. Solo Mid knows they were able to do this. KX actually going to recall back right now.
He got bumped up by Baron. KX will not be able to back. They do grab Baron, but they're going to lose an inhibitor for this. This is going to be huge map control for Azubu Frost, and they're going to be able to walk out of that bottom lane, but they're going to take the inhibitor before that. They know they have 8 seconds at least, plus another 3 for them to get to that inhibitor, unless they come down, which is even longer for walking. A beautiful job there. Maokai getting taken down. He executes himself, seeing the Requiem come in. I think he kind of stopped so he would go down, not getting a kill. We see the odd one coming in. They may have spent too long. Woong will go down here, not really even pushing on Reginald that much. And the chase is on now for Madlife. Overdrive going to come back up in 4 seconds, and the chase is stopped as they realize their base is going to start getting hit hard.
This was overall, I think, really good I'm not even sure, actually. I would have normally said in a normal game it's better for Team Solomid. They got a bunch of golden experience for Baron buff. They picked up a kill. The execute on Cloud Tempo doesn't matter, of course. No one in range for XP. No one getting the gold for that. He does lose the Oracles, which does hurt, but overall still, you know, Team Solomid, they got a bunch of gold, they got some extra experience overall, but the difficulty, though, is they've lost an inhibitor, and this actually plays exactly into Azubu Frost's playstyle. They want to play that long-range poke, those long-term engagements. They want to keep TSM kind of at the back and on their toes. And this lineup's going to make it very difficult.
Coming in from the backside, Reginald on the left. A huge amount of damage coming from Rapid Star, but he falls. Reginald is forced out of this fight. The Requiem is down. He cannot help his team here. Dyrus getting hit with a turret shot, and he's forced out as well. It looks like Azubu Frost is now in the re-engage. Could they get the grab onto one of them? Ezreal goes down. We see the chase onto Reginald here. Over the top, we switch over to that chase onto Xpecial. They're all going in the middle. A beautiful shot blast through the acceleration gate. Coming from Shy, they start to clean this one up. Xpecial trying to stay in front here. The movement speed just not enough for Overdrive. The grab onto the odd one. Xpecial goes down, and it looks like the odd one will lose his oracles here. The double kill coming out for Woong on the entire fight. Dyrus, the only one alive.
And that's going to make it a 3-on-1 in the base. The inhibitor completely open. There is no way Dyrus stops this push. I don't think he has the damage to deal it. He's actually going to spam dance up in the back line at the base. Dax flying up in the air, no problem, Dyrus. And they're going to be in good shape here, taking down that inhibitor. And now Azubu Frost has the exact lineup they need to just push top lane over and over. It'll be very, very difficult for Solomid to deal with 2 inhibitors down. This is exactly the situation that Azubu Frost wants to be in.
You can just see how tanky they are now, Freak. Face tanking these turret shots, going through the match like they own the entire map right now. And even after that Baron, Team Solomid had a bit of trouble fighting them. There is just so much ability on Azubu Frost to kite out the cooldown, and theirs are so low on most of the champions. You're going to see MF coming up hardcore with that blue buff on all the attacks that she can get out. Double ups, one after the other, slows one after the other from her, and the entire team just synergizes with that. Blitzcrank is going to get those slows with grabs. Lux is going to be able to lock them up as well, and there's just so much crowd control they can continuously stack one on top of the other. This will
continuously really be great for Azubu Frost. They're going to take that 1 second and finally go back to the base and buy. You can see that right now. Everyone kind of spent a little bit of time recalling back. And I mean, I want to call it actually that Shy a while ago went for a mana manipulator. He bought that right after he was done with Bloodthirster, realizing that his team was going to be sitting there in a group together, and they would be spamming abilities for a good long time. There would be a lot of mana spent, and he wanted to make sure his team overall had the mana regeneration to withstand and sort of support that style of gameplay. So even though he's a sort of a carry here and would be spending his money on damage and durability, he stopped for 475, bought the mana manipulator just to set his team up for more of that kind of gameplay. I think it's the first time I've actually seen the item even purchased in competitive play in like a year. These guys buying slightly unconventional items because they know it works for the team.
They're actually 9,000 gold up right now. It's 10 to 10 with 8 to 1 turrets. The gold generation items have accrued about 1,600 gold in that for their 50,000 gold, and those turrets just huge at 8 right now. Only 1 turret has been taken down for TSM, and it's not the mid lane turret either. So for their focus to all be top is going to be quite tough for them. They do have position on Baron with that, but really they want to be able to get to that mid inhibitor turret, that closest lane, and start the pressure. This is quite far off for them. Even though they got Baron, they can't put the 4-minute pause button on, and Azubu Frost is still completely in their face. They're trying to take down this last inhibitor and the inhibitor turret. If they can do this, they'll be able to just walk around the outside. The Freak, they have minions coming in from middle. They have minions coming in from bottom. This turret may go down. The flash is being expended. The wall of pain shredding magic resistance, but those are the cooldowns that they were looking to blow. TSM waiting patiently to fight under the turret that they may not have in the next few seconds. The inhibitors are going to start respawning, but the minion waves do have super minions in them still that are coming out of the base. They are waiting for these to get in. We can see Shyvana and Chaox trying to take down those minions as they just pressure top. Here comes that final top wave. It looks like this turret will go down. Dyrus is going to put himself out front. A beautiful push off of that as they do not get another turret, rather. We do see one go down. It was that middle, or it was that top inhibitor turret. Thought it was for the other side of the map, but there's just too many minions and just enough poke to take it down for Azubu.
They're going to keep this pressure on. There's now no turret to keep Solo-Mid alive. They can still try to get some kind of initiation with an apprehend, but right now they don't have the positioning to do it. Frost would have simply walked back up towards that top side. The Baron respawning in the pretty near future. The timer on that, 36:22, so in a minute and 20 seconds, Azubu Frost can simply walk back and get a free Baron. Solo-Mid will not be able to easily leave their base right here. Woong almost getting caught out. That would have been the chance here for Solo-Mid. If they had the flash, they could have apprehended Woong back in and tried to go for a fight there. Now the inhibitor once more under pressure, and Solo-Mid not trying all that hard to defend it. Azubu Frost, they kind of should be happy to just keep the poke going. The one saving grace for Solo-Mid is their fountain is right there. They can absolutely heal themselves back up. Frost wants to keep Solo-Mid in their base and keep them scared and keep them back because they can pick up Baron in now 50 seconds.
The inhibitor should be spawning very, very soon here. Dyrus with the Guardian Angel, Shy with a Guardian Angel as well. A final wave coming in. It's just passing the river. The Shock Blast is out. They're just kind of throwing out abilities here, trying to get the poke damage in. We saw this was very effective for Invictus Gaming, or actually against Invictus Gaming, I should say. Speedy D would always get taken down before the fight, and then the fight is initiated. That is what Azubu Frost is looking for. Looking for all this free damage. The crescendo cleansed out on that one by the Quicksilver, I believe, and it looks like the fight will be huge. It's going to be all the damage going to Team Solo-Mid. They have hardly any health, but they're still engaging. It looks like Azubu Frost is on their heels here, but they have quite a bit of HP still. They leave Shy alone, and TSM with a sliver of health is just able to outposition in the fight. Azubu Frost forced out of that one somehow.
And that was because they had some kind of initiation finally from Team Solo-Mid. Their actual ability to fight in the late game is so strong. Kaox getting jumped on there on the turret, but Templar does not have the damage, nor does, looks like Rabbitstar really have, actually he has the cooldowns. He could just put the burst onto Kaox. He's very, very low, but he's getting his health back up. There it is, he dodges it. They're going to be safe, but that is really the Team Solo-Mid lineup. They have champions who can simply go into a fight they rarely have the ability to get into a fight, but when they do, they fight so very well. If they can bypass that poke. Now before it was a flash into Wall of Pain from Carthage. This time it was a flash crescendo from Xpecial on Sona. The Quicksilver Sash came out there from Woong, but it wasn't in time. Dyrus was able to flash and then apprehend him back in. Misfortune went down very, very quickly, and the fight was on. They traded 2 for 2 despite being down almost 10,000 gold because TSM, they've got a team fight lineup. They've got area of effect. They've got late game scaling. They've got all the tools for a phenomenal late game if they can make those fights happen.
8,500 gold and a lot of turrets separate these two teams. An entire side of the map separates these two teams as an uncontested Baron now underway. 38 minutes into the match, Team Solo-Mid forced to stay. Guard these inhibitors. Their one Nexus turret was down to 150, actually 315 HP in that last fight. The Nexus turret's the only ones to regenerate health, but it's only had 300 health regen since that moment, so it's not fast. Azubu Frost is definitely faster with the aggression they've been putting on. Final Spark now down to a 24-second cooldown.
And that's really the gameplay that Azubu Frost wants to keep going, is these low cooldown, long-range abilities. That Nexus turret that's low on health, that's exactly the thing that Azubu Frost wants. They've even got better poke synergy now. They've got more regeneration, both on health and mana due to that Baron buff. They're going to run out of this bottom lane. They're going to set up another inhibitor kill, but they've got super minions to fight for them. You just saw that last fight go well for Solo-Mid because they have team fight power. Well, Azubu Frost wants to ride minions as part of their team fight power. They want super minions in there to help deal the damage. And look at the poke. They can bring Dyrus to half. But again, here comes the initiation.
Coming out, the lay waste almost hits onto Shy, but it was going to be the True Shot Barrage for most of the damage. The poke still coming out, and we can see Reginald and Kaox still giving them a little bit of trouble. Shyvana obviously with Flame Breath, a little bit of damage there, but it is still harassment. They're trying to dodge that. Flashing right over the Shock Blast to try and catch them off guard. Shyvana's Dragon Descent will lead the charge. Vengeful Maelstrom down by Cloud Templar. The entire team is forced to walk out, and MS Alt is down here. I believe she just used that Quicksilver Sash as well to clear anything that was on her. So they're going into this fight headstrong onto Reginald. He goes down. Dyrus is half health coming into this fight. They do drop down Cloud Templar. The 1-for-1 now, but slivers of health all on the side of Team Solo-Mid. Kaox trapped into the fight. This is not looking good, and it replicates a final push that we've seen before. Team Solo-Mid will drop game 1 to Azubu Frost at 40 minutes into the game. Congratulations there to the Koreans, keeping the hope alive for their region.
Team Solomon put up a very, very good fight. They definitely have the tools that it takes to pull this one into Game 2. Azubu Frost really showing themselves the favorites that they are, putting out a very nice strategy there. It's a different take on the poke-up that we saw Dignitas run in the North American Regional. There it was Caitlyn and Needly, and a lot of long-range pressure there trying to chunk enemy champions down. It was something a bit similar here. They had Jace for it, they had Lux for it, they had Misfortune and Blitzcrank. And the difficulty there was they didn't have Disengage. When you saw it run by Dignitas, they had like Alistar, Nunu, Gragas, things like that that pushed champions away, and Janna as well. In this case, though, it was actually them running more of an engagement-based thing. It was, we're going to land a bunch of damage from long range, then hope that we can run away either with Acceleration Gate or just with some crowd control here. You know, Maokai trying to slow people down to get themselves away from that fight. And we saw that actually burn them a little bit. Team Solo Mid got a few really, really good engagements in that game. It was only the fact that they were down so much gold by losing turrets in the mid game that they weren't able to carry those through. You saw the flash initiation from Reginald with Wall of Pain. That one worked really, really well. You saw the flash initiate from Sona with Crescendo. That one only went 2 for 2, and the only reason it went that evenly, because it should have went to solo mid, was a 10,000 gold difference. That's really what kind of caused that dearth right there. So we're going to watch that last team fight with the audio from Azubu Frost.
You can see him high-fiving as they were still doing the last damage to the turret. That's just how strong they knew they solidified the win after that ace. Yeah, as soon as that kill went down, they got that 5th one. They were like, yep, we've got this. Let's go ahead and set the attack move orders. And the high fives, the high tens, they're coming out. Congratulations. A very, very good game. And that was a really cool strategy. I've not seen something quite like that. Now, I do know they like the Lux pick. Of course, everyone here has been really liking Jace for that top lane. So, you know, some of those pieces, you know, could have been expected from this lineup. But the execution there was really, really strong. The Blitzcrank counter pick for the bottom lane really, really set them apart there. You know, there were a couple of counter picks from the odd one, but overall, Cloud Templar coming in with Mad Life and Boom to make those fights to the bottom lane was great. The decisions to say, no, Cloud Templar, you're going to gank top until we get first blood, and then once you do it, it's fine, we're good, peace out, let it go. And Shy snowballed that advantage himself. That one-on-one matchup that TSM so desperately needed, you know, Jace came out first. They had every option to counterpick for Dyrus and let him get back in there, and he started out equal, but Cloud Templar showed up first. Well, I wouldn't say he showed up first. Odd One did show up for a gank there with Exhaust, but Shy escaped that situation. And then once that had happened, Cloud Templar finally showed up. They got the first blood, support from Rapid Star, the laser coming across from the mid lane, and from there it was all over. Shy able to escape every single gank after that one, start his lane 3-0 over Dyrus, and with that amount of power, there was not a lot of options left over for TSM to win a fight like that. There was just simply too much pressure from Jace, too much pressure from the overall team. Azubu Frost played it perfectly. They did a great job. They followed those keys to victory, and we'll be right back after these quick messages with Game 2 to see if Azubu Frost can dash the hopes of Team Solo Mid.
무대 연출 효과가 야외인데도 되게 좋은 것 같았고, 무엇보다 게임 하기 전에 세팅할 수 있다는 게 되게 편했어요. 첫 번째는 좀 가물가물했고, 두세 번째는 확신.
이거는 한국 때부터 많이 해오던 거라서 그냥 좀 적응도 많이 돼 있었고, 한 판씩 하는 거라서 좀 그 전략이나 픽뱅 같은 거를 좀 더 잘 짜는 쪽이 이기는 거라서 저희가 그런 거에 초점을 맞춰서 더 연습을 열심히 했었어요.
오늘 경기하면서 아무래도 가장 재밌었던 점은 아이즈랑 할 때 좀 되게 오랜만에 이렇게 재밌는 게임을 했던 것 같아요. 그러니까 뭐 아주부 썸머 결승 때도 물론 굉장히 재밌긴 했었지만 좀 텀이 있었잖아요, 지금. 그러니까 정말 좀 역시 이 맛에 LOL 하는구나, 약간 그런 거 느꼈어요.
예전부터 좀 TSM이랑 제일, 그러니까 해외팀 중에서 가장 많은 연습 게임을 한 팀이 TSM이거든요. 그게 거의 1년 전이라서 TSM이 어느 정도 발전했는지도 궁금하고 그냥 만나는 게 좀 기대돼요. 그러니까 서로 다른 만큼 다른 색깔이 나올 것 같고 더 재밌는 게임이 나올 것 같아요.
일단은 그 OGN에서 그 마지막 그 시드 쟁탈전, 그러니까 그 2위를 그 가는 결정전 있잖아요. 거기서 시드를 빼앗겼는데 그것도 다시 되찾은 느낌이라서 되게 기분은 좋아요.
So you can see the minds behind Azubu, Frost, and how much they've taken into consideration that they don't have the best first game in those single games. Taking that into consideration, they go through champion select practice, the format of everything happening, and they're really able to come out strong here. It was awesome that they actually practiced that. It was something we mentioned earlier in the week, that they kind of have a curse in the first game of any best of 3.
It turns out they've completely turned that one around now. They're still undefeated in this tournament and ready to go. You saw in the interview they talked about having played with Solomid back in the day there when they used to be MIG Frost. But guys, ready to go. Let's get Champion Select underway. It's now time for TSM to figure out what they can do to counteract all of this. Azubu Frost now on the blue team, first pick and ban. Still some similar drops, and wow, they did their research because, yeah, TSM, I just talked with someone, and they were like, oh yeah, TSM finally added Orion to their lineup, and already they know it as a ban. Yorick dropped out once more. They're keeping those kind of, a couple of similar bans there in play, and I think the exact same 3 coming out from Solo Mid. They still know what they want to get rid of from Azubu Frost.
Shy is going to be the first to pick for his team. See the team discussing this out. Team Solo Mid sitting quietly as they recognize how to counter whatever comes out of Azubu Frost within these picks. Champion Pool says they will be picking up Ezreal, and that's still a safe pick even to show that AD carry first, since he is so much sought after.
And it's weird, though, because we didn't see Jace rush after. We did see, Jace being really, really important the first time around, but they didn't care so much. Dyrus insta-locking that. Solomid, again, looking at those 2 champions. Karthus, their first pick, the first game, they still like their chances with Karthus. I'm like, oh, great, you gave us Jace. Awesome, let's run that. Now, Ezreal was taken by Shy. These same 3 champions still at the very forefront of these teams' minds. Alistair, yeah, that's still banned. I was about to be like, oh, Alistair's still available. No, it's not. But, all the other supports are still in there. We've got Sona, we've got Nunu. All the champions players like to run completely still available. And now Frost looking at something a little bit different, picking up quite a few different champions here, looking now at Skarner and Vladimir. So let's break down what these picks mean so far. With Shy first picking Ezreal, that's a very safe pick. Ezreal's got no really bad matchups. He scales well throughout the game. He's just kind of above average at everything, and you can pick him first and know that you're going to have a strong lane and a strong late game. So sure, let's put in Ezreal. It's a very safe pick. There's no counter pick options here. Solo mid grabbing Karthus and Jace. Now, normally you kind of consider the mid lanes as counter pickable, where you can pick a champion, your opponent knows he's going to 1v1. You will pick something that beats that in a one-on-one matchup. Well, Karthus is very, very safe. He can farm from a distance. He doesn't have any real problems with counter-pick lanes, so they're fine just to run that. Additionally, he's going to scale throughout that game and be a very, very big carry and turn those late-game fights around and make them very strong for solo mid. That Jace top lane, similar situation. Has a lot of really good matchups, scales well throughout the game, can really bully his opponents out, whereas Karthus likes to farm. Jace will bully opponents. You saw that, actually, in that prior game where Shy picked up 3 kills against Darius. And that's just kind of what happens there with Jace. So they've now picked up Graves as well, wanting that for their AD carry. Once Ezra's been locked out, they've got a lot of damage output and a lot of bully potential in this game so far.
We'll have to see what they choose out here next. Reginald does have his mid, but he could also be choosing Fork Special here. We do not see the support out yet. Chaos is going to be grabbing his Graves, and it looks like they may be running that blitz. It's going to be a very aggressive bottom lane, but who wants to pull Leona?
Exactly. That's why they've grabbed that right away. Instead of that normal Sony you might expect to see, you saw that Blitz Sona counter pick there, which worked so very well. I think, I would have said they would have won that bottom lane in general if not for so much support from the odd one. But the Leona insta-click there, Nunu another option there, which would work as well in this kind of setup. And actually, Nunu blood boiling a Skarner wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, so we might see a different melee support there in the lineup. But they've now got to pick their top or mid lane here, because Vladimir could have gone to either location. But they're pretty well secured on this lineup. They know they have to fight Jace up top lane. They know it's a scary situation. And they're actually, Solo Mid here actually last picking their jungle, so we'll see if that ends up being something a little bit different here. But right now, it looks like maybe it's Tarek. Again, it could have been Nunu, could have been Leona, but they do want to pick a tanky melee support to withstand that rocket grab and then find something that will lane well against Jace up top.
This is going to be a tough pick here for the odd one. He is looking for that jungle. He does have Reginald's Karthus. We're going to have to see what they wait out. That Aurelia pick is going to be great for Jace top. Able to sustain, and he goes with his mainstay. They lock in the Maokai. He's going to be very supportive for the lanes and set up each one for those kills, as he does.
Well, this is really, if you go back in time far enough, you would have seen an MLG tournament there where Maokai was a really, really big deal for Solo Mid. It's what they went to when they were down. They came from the lower bracket and fought the old Epic Gamer team led by Dan Din, where they picked Maokai, I think, 4 or 5 times in a row and 4-0'd Epic. And I remember a graphic coming up there, which was Dan Din's face, and it said, "Ban Maokai? No way." They got 4-0'd for it, though. So Maokai really a champion that Solomid likes to go to when they're a bit down. It's going to give Oddone a lot of support power. This is going to be really, really strong. So both these teams going pretty team fight-centric. We'll see if there's going to be any special tricks coming out here. Both Skarner and Blitz able to pull out really crazy 1v5s. So let's hear it now for these two teams. If you want to see TSM bring it back and make it 1-1, let me hear you guys for Team Solo Mid.
Now on foreign soil with already one game under their belt, looking to dash the hopes of Team Solo Mid. If you're rooting for Azubu Frost, let them hear you for Azubu Frost! This is one of those matches that could easily steal a fan. Perfect play here is what it's going to take to move on to that next game. Azubu Frost looking to take this match to knock out the favorite from North America, Team Solo Mid.
Yeah, we're about to go into the game, and we have, again, the last vestiges of hope for these two regions. The only North American team left, TSM. The only Korean team left, Azubu Frost. It's going to be down to this. TSM must win this game to stay alive in the tournament. It's single elimination, and it's best of 3, and they're down 0-1. If you're just tuning in online or in person, the games are heating up. Let's get this into the game right now.
As they make their way out of base, Cloud Templar on that Skarner is going to be the hard initiator for the team. 0-0 in the first 25 seconds for contend.
Yeah, I mean, they're already going for something crazy. You can see Team Solo Mid already grouping up at the top of the map. They want to go for something, and they're right across the way from Shy, who's sitting there. And we talked about this in the break last game, where they will go for blind grabs or blind stuns in the brush to look for opponents. Oh, Madlife got a ward down, and it didn't get cleared out. Solo Mid weren't ready for it. So, oh, that would have been so good for them if they could have cleared that ward. But that was a great read there. Madlife, knowing Solo Mid might go for something crazy, and he got the ward across the wall, not pulling a Skara, actually landed it in the brush. You guys watch that video, you know what I'm talking about.
Rapid Star now seeing them in middle as they all head towards the bottom of the map, just kind of congregating together, keeping that crowd control as it should be. Obviously, Rocket Grab being taken by Xpecial, so he's looking to grab somebody over the wall. Wound down bottom as they may take out the golems here.
We may still see Solo Mid go for something a little bit aggressive. They're still together. They just put some saplings down as well, and they are going to regroup here and go toward the bottom of the map. They're going to look for Rapid Star. Those late waste almost finding him out. They're still putting some down, trying to find the opposition. Chaos listening in, trying to see if Buckshot hit anything. You do get some tactile feedback, as well as your passive turning on if you do hit something as Graves with that Buckshot. Solo Mid have not found anything yet on this map, but they have forced Azubu Frost to actually push in for their own mini golems, which is a bit rare of a start here. It's like Rapid Star not getting anything, but Reginald actually did steal away the big Wraith, so even with all that, they did get something crazy started. And Xpecial did pull in that Golem as well.
Very nice as they start this off going for the Golem. Team Solo Mid, a very nice pressure here, and that's actually what I was expecting from the other Blitzcrank game, that to be pulled. Team Solo Mid with quite an advantage as they start denying busts. We saw Azubu Frost do this as well last time, but they weren't able to this time. Still a little bit of aggression towards that top lane as they have done the swap.
And Cloud Templar, realizing that a Golem buff was likely, has already moved towards the Golem, but TSM actually pinged that Golem. I think they're reading that situation. They had warded the Wraith camp. They know he's on the way. Look at Oddone right behind Cloud Templar here. The sapling goes down. They know they're here.
Looks like they will pressure onto this. You see the Oddone just on the other side, knowing, getting the pings down. They're saying, get out of there on Azubu Frost's side. There's just too much power and crowd control coming in. Ezreal, Cloud Templar.
He's still got Smite, though. He could steal it away with the ward.
He is trying to stay just off of that distance, but they're bringing a lot of team there. They have the ward placed perfectly. They can see on both sides of that blue wall, and they're going to continue to go for it. Rapid Star just on the other side. We can see a big special there. They're all coming down for this. What a fight for blue buff at 3 minutes into the game. They are really wanting to deny this, knowing that theirs is down. They want this back with vengeance. They are going to push TSM out of there. The ward is just giving them too much control of this position. They get a tick onto Madlife. The Dazzler goes down, and they're not able to take back out of the beautiful pull-in. Madlife for sure will go down for first blood. He flashes away, and the General picking up blue and a kill. Woong forced out of the fight as well. A lot of flashes being blown here, and Azubu Frost on their heels quickly.
Wow, they faded and took so much time. The crowd, this home crowd for TSM really getting behind them, wanted to make this a thing. And look at the setup for Solo Mid. Chaos soloing top as Graves. They've got Jay soloing bottom there from Dyrus, and everyone else playing roam or pushing somewhere else. So an interesting setup here. Pretty similar actually to what we saw from Dignitas as well. This time though, it's coming out a little bit better overall for TSM here. They're making some nice lane swaps that are working out just so far. Everyone else roaming around, though some of that of course was the blue steal, but overall that fight was about TSM buying enough time that they could finally get their smite back up. Shy though putting on some great pressure onto Chaos.
Shy now having to back off a little bit though. He is right near his turret, and we do have a special coming back up. There is a ward in that, but it's going to be Team Solo mids in that early aggression. They put down some good wards just by the minion. Oh, over the shoulder of Shy. And it looks like the minion wave will prevent them from diving anything here, trying to get that power fist to do anything. However, it's special's level 1, so he's not going to power fist anyways.
Yeah, once he gets that experience, though, it's going to be a scary situation. And you got to be worried a little bit about these 2-on-1s on both sides. Anything with a Blitzcrank is always a super, super difficult lane to deal with. Blitzcrank, that rocket grab, and a power fist if he hits level 2 is just really, really brutal, and it's really good at setting up kills on a solo lane. And Aurelia, being so melee-based, is going to get set up for that kind of situation. You can see the counter trades, though, here from Azubu Frost. They're going to have similar situations here because they've got Tarek. That Dazzle is a lot of damage available there with the crowd control. You're going to have really good setups there for Ezreal. Uh-oh, and here comes Maokai waiting around on the wing. If they can get a rocket grab, this will turn into a kill on Shy.
There's a lot of damage to come from these 3 champions and crowd control as well, so Shy will not be able to trade back too much to help the turret. So, to get turret help, rather. So they are going to push down onto this, throwing the sapling out to give them some ward vision. And it looks like they're just going to be able to clear this one out, really dominating Shy's lane. They do not want him to be farmed up this time.
This was actually perfect play from solo mid. There's a couple of options when you go in a 1v2 lane. There's about 3. Number 1, you set up a tower dive. You go in behind, push from the turret, and go for the kill. Number 2, you zone. You don't push, and you just try to get the champion killed. Or number 3 is you actually go for the turret kill right away, and at 5:48 into the game, that turret is going to go down. Solo mid, first blood, and first turret blood. A great start here.
They are playing a lot stronger. It's like they want to get to the team fight game early in this matchup. We see them taking down that turret 6 minutes into this game. A good gold lead of about 2,700 gold. Actually, it's going to be 1,700 gold at this point. Reginald looking for some mana. We'll get a little bit there from the level, so he's going to try to clear this minion, get a good gold off that siege. And we can see mid lane now coming in with Chaos and Xpecial. They're going to start roaming around here. Reginald's going to be more than happy to start getting a lot of assists. Level 6, that Requiem is going to start doing some damage.
These lanes are going to get better and better overall. They're already giving Aurelia a really hard time there. Shy. Now, what they need to do, though, is they have to keep Aurelia from farming back up and scaling back into this game. We saw this happen a few times where they opened up a really early opening and put a lot of pressure on a lane and then kind of left it alone and let it farm back up. They don't need to just get turrets. They need to make sure that Aurelia has a tough time as well. They want to revisit top lane every once in a while and pick off Aurelia. She has no turret to run to easily. If they get behind her, she's got nowhere to go. They should set up a couple of more kills on Aurelia. Just face him out every few minutes and go for it.
No, grabbing the minion, they go for him still. They got him caught up very well. In great positioning by Chaos. He can't even pass through the bush.
Team Solo Mid really moving around the map, and they showed this with their very first level 1 fight with the Golem steal, and they got back to their own Golem as a group every single time, making these plays happen. Look at that, Solo Mid going for the Dragon now as well. They are playing as a cohesive unit. This feels a lot like that performance from Moscow 5 at Kiev, where no team was really ready for the types of plays made by this new coming team. Well, Solo Mid looks like they've done their homework and found something special here. They've got the Dragon, 2 kills, and a turret. This is a 3,000 gold lead at 7.5 minutes.
And a little bit of aggression here from Shy onto Dyrus. Shy wanting that back as soon as possible, wanting to get Dyrus down low and win that lane like he did last time. Team Solo Mid is really on the momentum after that loss. A 6-minute turret, a 7-minute Dragon, and they are poised to take the next one with that timer coming up at 13 minutes. We'll see if they're ready for it. The position they put themselves in with now having the AD carry down bottom with the support once again helps for that Dragon control, so swapping that lane out fast is really what they needed.
And it's going to be good overall. This is kind of how Solo Mid wants to play it, is by keeping the pressure on. And by having such a good top lane, Chaos and Xpecial are actually above Woong and Mad Life, so they can simply just go around to this bottom lane and bully it, almost like it were that 2v1 again. And because that shove top works so well early on, even Dyrus is going to have an easy time at this top lane. He's got an assist there. He's only down 3 minions, but he's got a turret and Dragon to back up his gold. You can see he's going to be above Aurelia in farm. 2300 to 1900, even without ever fighting one-on-one, Dyrus is above Shy. This bottom lane is better for Team Suleiman as well. And of course, Reginald, again, those global objectives on his side. Every one of these lanes for Suleiman, because of the pressure of one group of players, is actually better on all sides.
So we see blue buff being donated over to Reginald as he nicely gives the odd one, the smaller golem. Going into this bottom lane here, Woong and Madlife doing what they can to keep the aggression up. It does look like it's 54 to 69 going in favor of Chaos right now, being very strong in the lane, being able to push out Shy up top, and now having another farm lane to go through. This is so good for the AD carry, and Reginald known for farming as well, just continuously stealing rates back and forth. The carries are going to get fed very well for TSM if they continue to keep this up.
And the difficulty for Azubu Frost as well is that they don't have exactly the right kind of roster to set up a lot of kills just yet. Vladimir, not the best lane roamer because he doesn't show up to a side lane with any crowd control. He's got to make sure that either Shy or Madlife really sets something down to support that. Now, he can show up with damage, and if he comes on the back of Cloud Templar with Impale as soon as he's level 6, then okay, that's a decent gank overall. Vladimir is great at shoving lanes. He can roam and then show back up to a lane later on. So they potentially have the tools to make these fights go well, but it's really going to rely on Cloud Templar. He's now hit level 6. Let's see what he can do.
Here we go. Rapid Star getting hit up to the skies, goes down. Makes himself untouchable with that pool. The Impale, like he was in pool while the Impale happened. They couldn't synergize the damage, and they turned around the kill for TSM. Just not correlated correctly by Azubu.
And that was really unfortunate. The jump went on, and it was really, they didn't have time to spend there. They jumped onto Rapid Tower. He had to burn his cooldowns early. He had to pool before dying. And, Cloud Templar tried to show up. He flashed Impale to pull something together, but he simply couldn't quite make that one happen. And that was really, it was Suleiman jumping onto that fight 2 seconds before it would have been disastrous. If they had waited around and been more patient, it would have been completely in Azubu Frost's favor there.
Missed grab right there. Statistically saying, now 11 minutes into the game, Azubu Frost off to their worst start, and TSM showing us the earliest dragon of the tournament. 3 minutes for that dragon to come back up at 3-0 in favor of TSM. That gold lead at 3,100 gold right now. TSM holds a small lead, but this is where they stop making mistakes. They know they have the small lead, and they know how to snowball that. They know how to carry it and continue to push down towers. After each fight, you will see TSM continuously going for turrets freak. They leave nothing to chance, and they know when they have openings.
Yeah, they're actually not even shoving this bottom lane for a turret right now. They're actually happy to let that lane kind of sit around. Especially taking a bit of poke as a result, though. He is getting hit by Woong's Ezreal quite a bit. Woong, very comfortable on the Ezreal, is having a pretty good game overall. But you can see that bottom lane still really great for solo mid. 96 to 77 in minions. Chaos is having kind of the time of his life in that lane. You're seeing Dyrus actually still get out minion farmed by Shy. And he came into that lane with an advantage. The minion kills are going the other way. However, remember that he's been spending time roaming. He came down to that bottom lane and forced that kill onto Rapid Star. I'll give up 10 minions too if it means a champion kill. So, Dyrus, even though you're seeing him kind of statistically look a little bit worse in lane, remember that he's doing more things than just farming. That is a big deal for his team.
So the Dyrus is now up top. We'll see if he makes any moves within the next minute and a half. That dragon objective will be up. The buff, a control for both teams. Way more lackluster than the first game. We saw Cloud Templar paying much more attention to that. But right now the grab onto Madlife. Like you said, not somebody you really want to grab, but they're going to be able to burst down turret. The Requiem for sure to take him down. Woong just trying to get what damage he can in. 4-0, Team Solo Mid. The odd one coming off from the wing. The flash, Arcane Shift Flash. It's just under the turret, and he really plays that one, but he has to blow that Summoner Flash.
Yeah, that was a smart play overall, though. Good opening there by the Oblin. Burned his own flash to get into range for that. Did burn Woong's flash. In the end, I think that's kind of worth doing, though. Burning an AD carry's flash, it doesn't. It does matter here for the odd one because he does have that Oracle Elixir. He's a very high-profile killer. They want to make him broke. Maokai does need items to be a tank. He's not like Alistar, where you can just press your ultimate and rely on not taking damage anymore. He does need items to scale throughout this game. But at the same time, making Woong more available to kills is always important as well, especially when you got a Blitzcrank on that roster who can really set those openings up.
So they do have Skarner down in that bottom lane. His red buff coming up, so Cloud Templar going to head up, possibly give this one down bottom to Woong, but I think he's going to take it for himself. They really haven't been too much success on the ganks. At 4-0, we saw a much faster game from Azubu Frost last time. They're very unsure of their fight initiations here. Frick, as you said before, the initiations really aren't ready for them yet. Their team hasn't scaled into that fighting stage. We did see the Moscow 5 kind of played this somewhat with the Eve game, as they had to wait till late until their champion scaled over higher. So right now, it's a very lackadaisical game for Azubu Frost.
They've really not made any major moves. They're kind of just relying on Skarner to make some early plays, and it just feels like their confidence got broken here. This feels a lot like what happened with Saigon Jokers against CLG EU in the last game of Group B, where all day they've been aggressive and making plays and making openings, and here we go.
Oh, the pull in once again. Madlight finding himself getting grabbed. The heels go out. They bait it in. He gets himself out alive, throwing down the ultimate to help his team with the aura. Ezreal coming over the kill. His wound just left on the outside to punish down. Chaos looks to be dropping low and taken out by Cloud Templar. Finally a successful gank, putting Azubu on the board.
And that is just enough members showing up just in time. Look at that fight. Cloud Templar not taking no for an answer, really picking out the pressure there.
They really need this turret. They start to gain map control with this. And Freak, the dragon has come up. They should go to check it because it would be the perfect time to take that. Reginald putting pressure on Rapid Star in middle. The Hemo plate goes down. Shy trying to put as much damage on to help that percentage tick. And it just wasn't really any damage.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I didn't really love Rapid Star's moves there, but even still, it did push Reginald away. That might have just been there to try to keep Solo Mid from actually trying to stop this Dragon attempt. They are running down, but Cloud Templar and Woong don't show signs of wanting to stop this. I think they're going to go for this pressure anyway. You do see that Reginald had to recall back, so there is no one to stop this Dragon attempt. A very nice comeback little push there. That's really, really good for Azubu Frost. They pretty much got that gold lead back now, only down 700 gold.
Yeah, that is going to help. Now the Dragons at 1-1 in the matchup. We're going to see that one again around 21 minutes coming in. But it just looked like TSM was not worried about that. We've heard TSM say in the past, a Dragon fight, if you're not ready for it, is not worth the loss of your teammates because of what they just lose over the time of being in the Death Chamber. You're not in lane to get experience. The buffs aren't coming out. And we see TSM, as they take Dragon, Azubu Frost is forced to go back a bit. They use that advantage for the bit turret.
This is the second time I've actually seen Azubu Frost kind of trade away one of their own turrets for an objective like Dragon. They were very, very weak afterwards and had to give up that advantage. And I don't know, I think that's mostly Solo Mid making really, really good moves, knowing they can trade objectives away like that and are happy to take those leads. But it's still, it gives you that sort of pang of uncertainty there when, Azubu Frost had map control and in the end, traded objectives equally for it.
So, Freak, as, Azubu Frost does scale later into the game, we see the Rod of Ages and the Bloodthirster being finished for Team Solo Mid. Even if they do start to scale, the fact that they're behind and not creating these core items, what's going to be the next step to mitigate TSM Snowball?
So to mitigate TSM Snowball, they need to put some more pressure back on Original's Karthus. He had burned his flash, his exhaust is down, he's level 12 with a lot of power on that Requiem, but they need to get in as many battles as they can before Rabbidan's Death Cap. That is a huge power spike there for Karthus. When you go back to SK Gaming's loss in the group stage, not to CLG, but one of the other ones, Ocelot was, I think, 40 gold away from finishing Death Cap when the game-winning push came in, and Ocelot was killed and had to cast Requiem without that surge of ability power. And after the Requiem landed, there were like 2 members of the enemy team below 100 health, where if he had just gotten 3 more minion kills and gotten back to base, that would have been a very game-turning fight, picking up a double kill there and keeping their base alive. So they want to put on as much pressure as possible before Reginald farms up more gold. He's currently sitting at 1,200. He's got another 2,200 gold to go before he can finish that item. Over the next 2,000 gold, Frost needs to put on a lot of pressure there, get some more turrets out, hope for another Dragon, maybe even a Baron bait, though it's unlikely here, and get that pressure going.
You can hear all the pings going out as all these teams communicating in the most minimal way possible so they can continue to keep the chemistry talk going. Huge onto Dyrus. He did not expect to find a 2v1 situation top and will find himself going down.
This is now the Cloud Templar show. He's got Oracle's Elixir and is going to have one of the best ganks in the game, being that Skarner. And there they found Rapid Star in the mid, though.
This is going to be bad. That Wall of Pain, however, already went down, so this is just going to be a chase on speed. Maokai on the backside, the Arcane Smash to slow him down. Twisted Advance coming up soon, and it looks like they'll be able to take him down. But here comes Woong and Mad Life. They are aggressive in their lane, and they will fight this one out to the end. You can see the flash in from Mad Life, not caring, going straight onto man mode. Woong finds a kill onto the odd one. Rapid Star, or rather Reginald, is the chase right now from Shy. The flash over, and he's just going to walk through Defile happily. The exhaust goes down. That single target damage is going to be a lot of burst, and Reginald just really trying to do what he can before going down, but biding time for his team to do other things. Requiem onto Shy, and he does go down, the 1-for-1.
Dude, Reginald, that was an incredibly sick move there. Caught out of position, but knew how much time he could build. for an exhaust. We could land more shots. New Shy did not have cooldowns yet. You know, just kited and kited and kited and landed just enough damage. That last lay waste, all he needed to ensure that kill. I've got to hand it, that was a really, really good move from Reginald there, bringing that kill a little bit more equal. But the thing to remember, though, is Cloud Templar still has not fallen since buying that Oracle. He's still going to snowball this game through with a lot of map control.
The top lane is quite pushed. The items right now for Team Solo mid, not very Baronable, but we've seen earlier Barons in these matchups. I believe that 15-16 minute Baron was our earliest, and that was Shy on Jax with Cloud Templar going in hard. I believe actually was the support there as well. Cloud Templar came in late, so that 2 for them was uncontested. Azubu Frost knows when to take scary chances. Here's one of them right now, but this one is completely in their favor. An impale onto Chaos, and the wards not enough to keep him alive. They need to start worrying about map control.
That Cloud Templar, man, he's making the moves that we expected to see from Azubu Frost. Most of their team really not very ganky overall. Shy had a bad matchup. Woong and Madlife were already zoning and pushing Dyrus to his turret. There were no openings there for Cloud Templar to make any ganks, because you can't gank for Vladimir. There's just not any damage there, especially against a Karthus who's going to play in the back lines and farm safely. So, you know, that lineup, it did not look like anything Cloud Templar could have ganked for. But he finally hit level 6, and he finally had teammates with a lot of damage. And you've seen him now time and again. That one-on-one Shy versus Dyrus. Nope. 2-on-1, we got a Skarner here. That bottom lane, Chaos trying to get some farm. Nope, Skarner's here, another kill picked up. He is showing up over and over. Cloud Templar now 3, 1, and 2 is the #1 player of this game. The unpause though, we're back into this game. Let's get it underway. We're still in game 2 of Azubu Frost versus Team Solo Mid. The team's only 300 gold apart. Solo Mid needs to win this game to stay alive. Azubu Frost wants to win this to make it to the semifinals. Guys in the audience, are you excited for this game?
Crowd here completely full. Downtown Los Angeles is beaming with Summoners. LA Live, the place to be right now for the League of Legends Season 2 Championship Playoffs. Azubu Frost versus Team Solo Mid as they now go into this nail-biting match to keep North America in the League of Legends Championship. 6-6 at 20 minutes into the game. The gold is near even at about 500, actually 300 gold difference.
And this is going to be just neck and neck the whole way through. It's going to be the battle of who can get crazier initiates, because both these teams have a lot of scaling. Jace and Aurelia will scale similarly. Graves and Ezreal will scale similarly. Vladimir and Karthus will scale similarly. They've got tanks in the front line who are going to really set up a lot of difficult situations for both teams. But what you're going to see break these teams apart are 2 major factors. It's Rocket Grab and it's Flash, Aurelia's Reverie, and Pale. Both these teams have some kind of crazy initiation move to start team fights out in a really awkward situation. Neither of these teams have a full-on dedicated tank. There's no Shen, Alistar, or Malphite with like a Frozen Heart Randuin to absorb damage for 7 days. It's bruisers converting themselves into tanks and trying to survive that initial impact. And so what's going to happen here is almost no matter who is pulled, someone's going to die in about 4 seconds. And it depends. Is it going to be the Impale on an important target? Is it going to be the Rocket Grab on an important target? Someone could die in seconds flat, and making that a 5-on-4 is all either team needs. You're seeing a 1% gold difference between these 2 teams. It means almost nothing. It's all going to be down to how the team fights happen, who orchestrates the battles. Even the turrets are split evenly. These teams are just 100% neck and neck.
It looks like Team Solo Mid trying to dictate what is going to happen from here on out. The oracles on both of the junglers to clear and sweep around the jungle, trying to give them that little advantage. It really is going to be the pull to happen, the correct impale to just go off. These fights are going to be an instant initiation as they come up. It looks like Team Solo Mid beginning to push mid. They don't have too much of a minion wave with them just yet. Just a few caster minions there with a melee in the front. That's going to be wiped out as Rapid Star coming up. Quite big now on that Vladimir. Actually, I believe he goes for the Abyssal Scepter and the Revolver, so he's helping his team out a little bit. Not that there's much magic to be helped out there in shredding, but that Hemoplague is going to be doing a good amount of damage as his team will synergize off the damage with that. So still a good build for him, but he's got to remember that AP comes from health as well. So he could go for that tanky build, but Freak, he put a lot of focus on that death cap for him, and he's just putting himself farther and farther away from it.
He's getting himself there pretty quickly, though. He's got not a lot of gold still to go for Reginald here. He's got, let's see, you know, he's got the new large rod already, and he's at about 1,200 gold, and he needs 2,000 for the combine at this point. So at 800 gold, Reginald is going to surge up in power. Rapid Star, I don't love the Abyssal Scepter build here because he doesn't have another ability power champion to synergize with, but he's still going to be putting out a lot of damage in a team fight. But what this means, though, is that Rapid Star is relying more on his consistent damage with Tides of Blood and not so much burn control.
So the true shot riders, there's Timo Plague. The team really not there to capitalize on it. TSM backing up, but it looks like they are getting wiped out in this fight right here, especially on the odd one very low. They're able to get 3. Azubu Frost coming up huge on Team Solo Mid right now. Woong the focus, he flashes over Kayak's buckshot. That's actually the arcane shift coming in, and the odd one now forced to run. Azubu Frost, I was about to say it as they took top turret. Once they start taking that map control, they start to pummel down lanes. Now winning that fight, they're going to be able to do exactly that. That team, however, close in HP. It was just all the members from TSM dropping before they could take the sliver of health away from Azubu Frost. Now, coming in with the Baron, Azubu getting most of every Baron they've ever had an attempt on in a match, whether it's a steal or not. And it looks like they're going to be able to grab this one for themselves quite uncontested. The odd one, sitting off in the wing, will do what he can, and he will not be able to get it. The smite comes out from Cloud Templar.
Nice job, Azubu Frost. That team fight was as perfect as it could have been. They got the Impale off on Dyrus. He went down early on. Dyrus unable to even flash or ignite, so you know he was pinned the entire way through. Chaos really on the receiving end of those attack speed flows. I thought he had the damage it would take to kill off Woong, but Woong just would not die in that situation. Picking that one up. Let's check out a replay with the Korean audio to see what Frost was saying about that fight.
제이스 마무리. 그 다음에 카오스 잡고 그 다음에 아스쿠 들어가. 마오카이 잡아줘. 마오카이. 나이스. 바로.
Alright, there you have it, guys. The coordination there, picking off targets one at a time, and that duel at the end, Woong coming out ahead on Ezreal. That would have been a very important battle right there if KX had picked up that kill himself. He had enough lifesteal to probably withstand Cloud Templar even, because there's not a lot of damage there on that Skarner. He might have been able to out lifesteal it, but now up 10-7 in kills, 3,000 gold ahead with that Baron buff. There's not a lot of options here for solo mid. Azubu Frost, just like that first game, is going to want to put on a lot of pressure and go for some turret kills here.
So Cloud Templar now 4-1-5 freak. Looking at his build, he is quite tanky. You said he doesn't have a lot of damage, but he can rely on that for his team. What's going to be next in his build?
For Cloud Templar here, he might see a Frozen Heart up next. He's going to want to be a big tank. There's a lot of physical damage output overall here between Dyrus and Kayax. It's a lot there. I don't think he's really going to itemize all that hard for Reginald, so I'm expecting a big armor item. Maybe it's Frozen Heart, maybe it's Guardian Angel, but he's going to want to be a big tank initiator, because we're at the point now where there is a lot of damage overall from solo mid, and he's still going to be that key initiator in a dedicated team fight, especially if solo mid are just, you know, safe in the background and just sort of relying on defensive play. They're going to be able to be defending themselves behind turrets, and Cloud Templar will have to dive in and actually initiate to make those fights happen. Woong gets a steal on the blue buff, but he's now getting chased down a little bit by solo mid. He's going to make it out though, and it's going to be back to a split push here. Azubu Frost actually putting out a lot of pressure on the side lanes before going for a push. I'm surprised they're not trying to close this out a little bit better with just a consolidated shove in mid.
Yeah, they do have that Aurelia up top. Shy can definitely fend for himself, and he will meet Reginald up in that top lane. We can see Chaos now heading up there with the odd one. The split push is definitely going to give them an advantage here. They have Mad Life as well, throwing off the ultimate to give that AD out so they can just crush down this turret. And they move off of that one quite quickly. You see Ezreal farming down bottom lane as they pretty much are just try-pushing at this point.
And that's interesting because, you know, I feel like TSM are happy to fight smaller engagements because no matter where Reginald is, he can lend that Requiem. He's actually popped a blue elixir as well, giving him bonus cooldown reduction and ability power, which really does boost him up in these fights. We'll see if that matters too much there. Reginald, it was weird, he bought his second needlessly large rod. I would have really thought Deathcap was in there for him.
Dazzler coming out to stop some of the reinitiation. Great job by Mad Life just staying there for that last second to stop anything that could happen. Shy now with his Guardian Angel coming out before that 30-minute mark. He also has the Triforce to do some explosive damage as he is in fight. Rapid Star still keeping the pressure on, and that Baron is really just giving them that play on the mentality of Team Solo Mid right now. They'd love to initiate, but they know the fight will not be in their favor right off the bat. This one, however, they do aren't able to get the initiation on. Team Solo Mid is still itching to get an initiation here.
Azubu Frost, they really are just playing that split push card and playing so well. But Cloud Templar getting caught out here at the bottom.
It looks like it's going to hurt pretty bad. There's the initiation with Requiem to keep the fight going. Turn the tide of this one. They are able to get down Cloud Templar. That shutdown will throw some gold their way.
That's really important because he had oracles as well. So Cloud Templar must realize that while he can buy some items and get himself more powerful, he wants to probably rebuy that oracles. I wouldn't really trust Mad Life on Tarek with an oracles. Tarek is just a bit of a frail champion and is pretty easy to kill off in a team fight, so they don't want to really deal with that.
A good pull once again onto Mad Life. He just has pull written all over him, but they find Chaos out on the left side. TSM will engage on this. The Baron right now to Azubu Frost, and they're going to start losing a lot of solo mid members. Azubu Frost, however, somewhat pushed out of it. The 2-2 fight, the sliver of health on Azubu Frost's side. TSM with a sliver of health as well. They come out on top. Aurelia still in this one. We do see Cloud Templars up, and it looks like the 3-3 overall.
I just want to point out that Special saved Odd One's life. He rocket grabbed Vladimir, waited long enough for him to actually move over with Twisted Advance, which put him back in his own base and safe from Shy. That was an epic move right there. Managed to basically pull his teammate along with it and pick up a kill as a result, so still a close fight here.
Oh, they're going hard onto Shy here. The bounce up from crowd control. Arcane Smash as well, where they're more than happy to get the turret. Shy with the Guardian Angel still being quite aggressive. Getting that Phage proc on, he will slow. They may have a better chance to get out of this one, but Cloud Templar is so tanky right now. Coming in, but not actually know what even got himself. That Giant's belt coming out, and it looks like he may actually be going for that tank, as we said before, Freak. Yes. No damage for him. He's just going to absolutely get to the front line.
Yeah, I kind of expected cooldown reduction from that Frozen Heart just to put out more damage with those with the crystal slashes, but it might just be a lot more durability. You might see Mallet that don't feel a little bit weird. Maybe it's Sunfire, maybe it's even his Warmog's armor. Just wants to tank everything out. There are really a lot of available builds here for Skarner, so whatever he kind of goes for, as long as he gets more durable, that's really the most important thing for him here. Now let's take a look at the overall roster here. Shy is having an amazing game here at 5-1. He was always the question mark for this team, being the newest member of that roster, replacing Woong in the top lane actually, as Woong went down to AD carry when Loco Doco left. Shy was always the question mark here. Is he good enough? Can he step in and fill Woong's shoes? Well, right now he is 5-1. Trinity Force, an untriggered Guardian Angel, and a Wit's End, putting out a lot of damage. Yes, I think he's doing quite well this game so far, and has been doing amazingly for his team overall in this tournament. Shy, I don't think really much more of a question mark, really more of an exclamation point now for this Azubu Frost lineup. Yes, a punctuation joke, thank you. Now Cloud Templar, though, he's still keeping the pressure on throughout the map. The one thing he hasn't done, though, is rebought Oracle's Elixir. So they did actually put it on Madlib. They said, you know what, Tarek, we think you will live in this fight. Go ahead and pick that one up. We'll hope to keep you alive. And this does play to one strength, though, is that TSM does not want to focus Tarek first in a fight. Now, if they pull him, he's almost certain to die right away. But if they don't, you can expect for Mad Life to be the most ignored one on that lineup, because he will put out the least damage of everyone else there. But they don't want to pull him out early because he's not a big damage threat. So that may pay out in the end. It did allow Cloud Templar to buy a few more items.
Coming into this point in the game, 31 minutes in here. This is what you were talking about before. Azubu Frost has now reached those points of scaling that they need. Vladimir actually not choosing to go ever for the Rabadons, but into the Zonias. Where's the team fight going here? Is TSM going to want to find this in the jungle or an out in the open fight?
I think they're going to want more, sort of a little bit more out in the open, but still with some geometry there. They want to be able to land a rocket grab and land it without Azubu Frost being able to follow up easily. Because rocket grab only has so much range. With Shirelia's there on Skarner, the rest of the team can follow up pretty easily, and Skarner will pull someone back. But if they get a rocket grab like over a wall or into a turret, that's really the kind of fight that Solomid wants, because they can actually force some pressure here. If they grab Shy, though, it's not going to matter too much. They want to grab pretty much anyone else on that roster to make it happen.
There's the Shirelia steroid going off. It looks like they may see an impale here. No, they pull Shy, and rather do not pull Shy, and they miss that grab. Rapid start going in. Pools under everybody. The damage going out. Chaos will fall. They're finding it special go down as well. So much health still. Shy, the Guardian Angel, coming back up for him. They drop 3 members of TSM. Reginald now in death-defy form, and they may have their way with the base here. They don't have enough minions to push on. There's only 2 there, and Cloud Templar is quite hurt. He is the one to take that turret. Mad Life may go down here, and he does, but they drop down Dyrus. The ace is there. Freak, the Nexus turrets are going down. Cloud Templar is so tanky. They're trying to thwart out Team Solo Mid, trying to stop that path to the championship, and Azubu Frost will knock out Team Solo Mid.
And just look at the emotions on their faces. The Nexus explode, the crowd cheer. The Azubu Frost has moved themselves to top 4 in the world. With only one quarterfinal left to play, which will be tomorrow at noon. And look at that, we found 3 teams knocked out here, 3 moving on to quarterfinals. Team Sulamid, a great run though. First place in North America, 5th through 8th in the world is still a great placing overall. Joining with them, Najee's Sword, the top 8 team, and Invictus Gaming is the top 8 team. Still a lot of great moments here today, but we have, of course, more great moments here tomorrow.
I got to just ask from your perspective, what was it for Azubu Frost? Was it the compositions or just the mentality in game or something else?
It was 1 or 2 star players making really great moves, which I know counteracts what I said at the beginning, which was that everyone's really a great player. They're all going to do amazing things. But Skarner, I've got to hand it to Skarner, making all of the plays mid-game. Sulamid looked so good early on, and I said, you know, Frost looked like what we saw from Saigon Jokers against CLGE, where they weren't making any big moves. They were letting the other team walk over them, letting the other team make all the big moves and play aggressively, and you saw Sulamid kill, 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 turret, kill, kill, and just making all the great moves early on. And finally, Cloud Templar said, okay, guys, level 6, let's get some fights going. And he found one every single time, with one exception where he went for the Impale on Reginald and TSM still picked up the kill in mid on Rapid Star. Every other Impale used resulted in a kill. And I've got to hand it to Cloud Templar for being so reserved there. He only ever, in a team fight, only ever pulled Dyrus. He didn't care about killing Reginald because of Death Defied. Didn't want to kill the Odd One or Special because they're tanks and it's okay if they go down first. Didn't want to go for KX because KX had Guardian Angel, or he could quick draw, or he could get out of that fight. Dyrus was not in that situation. He got Trinity Force and Brutalized before starting for Guardian Angel. He was not tanky for a very, very long time. Even though he had good farm and a couple of kills, Dyrus could not withstand that Impale into team fight. And that's really what Azubu Frost did, is when he finally got the Impale going on, they all collapsed. They have so much damage output. As long as Rapid Star landed his ultimate, Wound can just force someone down. Shy with so much damage output with E10 style, cuts through those resistances and was just dealing so much damage. The team collapsed. Dyrus would almost always go down very, very quickly in those fights, and everyone else was able to be cleaned up. It's an area of effect team. Cloud Templar's Crystal Slash, a lot of damage everywhere. Shy's ultimate, those blades going everywhere, picking out kills, and of course Vladimir just does it indiscriminately at all times. The whole of TSM would just take damage, but they would focus that one target, take down that high-profile champion, and then continue on with a numbers advantage over and over. Special made some good moves early on with rocket grabs, but he was not able to pick off those early team fight kills.
All right, guys.